Hello and welcome. I know you guys haven't seen me in a long time, and that's purely because life is chaotic at most of the time. Anyway, so I'm back. This is me. Okay, I'm a weirdo, so you know, and now the weirdo has been seen. Okay, so we're talking about Kiely Rodni and how insanely crazy this case has got. It's got piqued the interest of almost everybody in the YouTube true crime community. Everyone has said something about this at one time or another, and I have a list of questions, and just different things that I've read. There'll probably be a part two because, not nobody even knows exactly what happened yet, and that's more the thing. But it's just been so intriguing because people in this case are just, I don't know, just weird. Maybe people are just weird. Like, I'm weird, but I don't know if I'm that weird. I'm definitely socially awkward. Maybe that's most of these people's problems. But yes, so let's start from the beginning. Kiely Rodni is a 16-year-old female who went missing in Truckee, California, which is just above Lake Tahoe. I think it's like, I don't know, a half hour or so. Anyway, they found her car in where she was. Her cell phone was last ping, which was Prosser Creek Reservoir. She was camping, or not camping. Well, that's disputed. Nobody knows. Was she camping? Was she not? I don't know. She's supposed to stay the night, but then she had a curfew, which got extended, and then nobody heard from her. And then yet she was supposed to be staying there, but she was too drunk to drive, and I don't know. So, that's part of the problem with this case. Just so many different things. Anyway, so they found her car there, about 14 feet of water, and this is whether the water had, lowered or not, receded, because it is California, and we just had a hell of a heat wave. I don't know about there in the mountains, but I'm in California, and we just were slammed with heat. I mean, it was 115 here last week, so, again, they found her car. It was upside down, which happens. That's not very unusual. So it being upside down doesn't mean it was flipped and put in the water upside down. It just means that, I watched Mythbusters, and there is, you should watch that episode. I will link it in the description if I could find it. And he shows where the car actually flipped on him twice while he was in it. And then he said it was really disorienting trying to find the handle to the car to get out. So, you know what I mean? And he had to use the oxygen to even get out of the car. So I will link that in there. It's really very interesting to watch. But then the most peculiar thing is she was found in the back seat. I mean, not the back seat. She was found in the back, like the stowaway area, like where you put all your luggage and everything. What would be the trunk if there was a trunk? So, those are interesting things. Sorry. It's the first time I've gone live, and I'm weird, like I said, and a little socially awkward. Anyway, so some of the things that I wanted to ask was, if Kiely just drove off drunk, then how come no one saw her leave? Because nobody stopped her, nobody took her keys away. So I find that unusual. I mean, I go camping out in the woods, and with a lot of people, because I've been to rainbow gatherings. And, people get drunk there all the time, but we take their keys away. We don't let them drive. Unfortunately, that doesn't for everybody, but somebody I know, and sometimes it starts a fight, And so, I would be willing to fight my friends so they could live to see another day, though. Okay, if she was familiar with the area, and I'm sure she wasn't her first time going to a party there or having a party there, or the first time she probably drove drunk or impaired, if this is how, kind of things that they do around there. So, you know what I mean? Just saying with that, I'm sure she probably drove drunk or impaired from that area. So another reason, would she have made a wrong turn? I mean, and then Doug said that road from Adventures with Purpose said that road is really bumpy. So if you were to make a wrong turn, you probably would have noticed on how many ruts and how bumpy it was. Okay, another one. How bright was the moon that night? Because if you drive near a lake, and if it has good reflection, you can usually see the moon in the sky and the clouds and everything. But that might, if you're drunk, you might not even be aware. or impaired in any way. I'm not saying she just was drunk, because, you know, there's rumors there could have been shrooms or whatever else. There could have been a whole other, you know, amount of drugs. And if she was drunk enough to get lost in a familiar place, would she have the gumption to climb to the back to get out with seconds to spare? Now that I find, like, you know, she would have been fiddling if she's wearing her seatbelt. She would have been fiddling to get her seatbelt off and to get out of the car. And that's where, you know, if you watch that episode, which I will also link with Adventures with Purpose, the father and the grandfather ask, was she seatbelted in the front? And she was not. And they were both like, whoa, like that blew their minds, which it would. And also Kylie was very smart enough to know not to drive drunk. That's what I would assume, if she was so smart. And I'm sure that her and her mom seem to have an open relationship. I mean, not an open relationship, seem to have an honest and open relationship with each other, that she seemed like she could call and tell her mom probably almost everything. When she called and say, hey, Mom, I can't drive, blah, blah, blah. I mean, she knew she was going to a party, you know. Can you come get me and leave the car for the night? I don't know. I just don't understand why one of her friends, if they knew that she was that drunk, then how come they didn't say, hey, man, you don't drive, come with me on my ride? Why would they just, you know, I mean, they thought she was camping, but she didn't. It's just weird. It's different. It's weird. I don't really feel like the mother had anything to do with it. A lot of people keep thinking that she's weird and different. And, I mean, yeah, people, you know, are different. And, you know, she definitely was grieving. She definitely looked like she was upset about her daughter being gone. And I feel like she's just trying to shield some of the other children that, or not necessarily children anymore, but some of the other people who are possibly could be involved. I'm not even trying to insinuate anything like that, but, you know, she is a mom. And, you know, if those kids have been around her for however long, months, years, or whatever, you know, you kind of want to look out for them. They're probably like children to you as well, you know. So to me, that isn't very unusual. She's probably giving them a benefit of a doubt, because why not? And then maybe there, you know, there was someone older who did it. Maybe there is, you know, we don't know. I'm going to have to cut all these you-knows out. Anyway. Also, who leaves a minor friend alone at a party, drunk or high or whatever, when they themselves are uncomfortable with how the party turned out? That's, again, you know, if she was that drunk or that impaired, some people are saying she couldn't even talk or walk, then how in the heck did she get into her car and drive off? Wouldn't she have hit a tree, or, you know, maybe ended up and stuck him off the side of the road, veered off or something? That's what I would assume, not just, you know, drive straight into the water, which I could see happen. I'm not saying it didn't happen. That's impossible. I mean, that's totally could have happened. Obviously, it somehow did happen. But was she the one driving? Was she even aware of what was going on? Did somebody just stick her in the back as she was drunk and try to drive her home, and then they were drunk and then they drove her in there? I mean, it could have totally been an accident. But something's just not add up. The window was broken. I mean, was it broken? It looked like it's broken. To me, in my opinion, it looked like it was broken, the passenger side window. But, you know, we don't know if the dive team had to do that to get in there. We don't know, you know. So there's a lot of things. Like, and another one I want to bring up, right? Everyone's talking about how, okay, you see my screen right here. You see how this over here, the, I can't point my thing or otherwise I'll go on there, but you see how her rear view mirror is broken and there looks like a dent below that. I believe that happened when they flipped the car over. That's what I believe. I do not believe that was previously like that, because if you look when they're underwater, it doesn't look like that. It doesn't look, you know, of course, you know, gravity would probably hang it down, or I don't know, would it float? I don't know, but it doesn't look like that in the video. So when the dive team initially went down, so I believe that was when they flipped it over. Also, okay, what else we're here? How do we know she was even at the party? That's a lot of people bring that up, and that is a good question. Nobody has seen any footage or film or pictures or anything actually showing that she was there. So, you know, that could be, you know, a thing why somebody is saying that I was with her all night. You know, it was because maybe she wasn't really there. We don't know, you know. Like I said, everything is speculation. I don't believe, I mean, I believe somebody was involved. I believe somebody saw something or at least knows something. Somebody definitely saw, heard, or knows something and are just not speaking out for whatever reason. Okay? Maybe, I don't know. Like, why wouldn't you, if you did see your friend drive off in a lake or something, why wouldn't you call the cops? Or why wouldn't you, even if you're impaired, man? I mean, that's your friend, right? Okay, anyway, why does it seem like everyone around Kiely is acting weird? Like I said, some people are just weird. So, it could just be that they don't know how to deal with this, especially a young person like that. You're not always equipped with, how you're going to be in 10 years. How that person acts now is not maybe the same way they would act in, a few years or so. They are still very much children, a lot of these people that were around. I don't want to say involved, but that were at the party or around her. Okay. And the only thing, her good friend that has been made herself apparent in this whole thing. I'm not going to try to name names because we all know who I'm talking about. But she hasn't shed a tear at all, which is really unusual to me because most people, even her other friend who was described as her best friend, has shed tears, and she may have laughed in a thing, but I think that does not really mean anything that she laughed in her interview. I feel like that is just, you know what I mean? Like, I laugh when I get uncomfortable. I really do. I laugh when I feel uncomfortable. Sometimes I laugh because, I don't know, it's just weird, nervous thing. So, to me, that's not very unusual. She might have been just laughing to take the emotions away, too, So, why were police allowing that good friend to hold teen-to-teen talks without police? I mean, without parents and all that stuff, I get. But without police, like at least some informant in there or something, or a recording, if she at least recorded all the interviews that she was doing. I don't know, she could have, but that's what I would be like. I want them to record because I just feel like, why is she allowed to do that? Because it was foul play. I mean, how does she know what information to relay that could be valid? She's not a trained cop or anything. She's not an investigator. But anyway, now I want to focus on some other things in case she did drown. Decomposition in water is slower because of the cooler temps. But then I did read or watch the video, not really read, because of how that goes. That's not always true. That sometimes being in fresh water can make your body, can actually cause your body to decompose faster. So I'm really kind of on the fence about that too. After drowning, external foam is visible at the mouth or nostrils. Frothy fluid in the airways and lungs. Hyper expansion reflect the bear with me because I'm pathophysiology of submersion and aspiration of drowning medium. So, water in the lungs. None of these, however, is a diagnostic of drowning, but are present in all verified drownings. Okay, so like what I did read was that if you drown, your lungs will expand, and they'll expand so much that it can even leave rib imprints on your lungs. So like that's one way that they'll know that you drowned and not necessarily just put in the water. In a series of, and then I'll find the link to which I read this and see if I can link it to, a series of 1,590 bodies recovered from water found external foam in 29%, froth in the airways in 70.6%, and overlapping of the lung margins in 64.1% of fresh bodies of verified drownings. See, and that's another thing. She wasn't considered a fresh body because it was 2 weeks. And like I said, we had a heat wave here, and she wasn't in that deep of water. So, really a lot of it isn't... I don't think you're going to find anything on the internet that's going to give you a legit answer for that, because it all really depends on each situation, which is like this one was very, she wasn't in deep water, which so there wouldn't be as bigger fish to chew on a decomposing body. But there, she was there where there were smaller fish, so you know what I mean. So we don't know what condition her body could be in. I'm just trying to stick to more factual things and how we can maybe eliminate drowning, or how they would eliminate drowning. The combination of all three was present in only 8.8% of cases, but it was said to be 100% specific for drowning. So if she displays any of those, they'll know that she drowned. But, like, what if she wasn't necessarily dead before she was put in there in the car, if that was what occurred? What if they did it, she was unconscious and they put her in there? Then she would display signs of drowning, and because she was disoriented or out, because sometimes people think someone's dead and they're not really dead, and then they do that, and then, it might show that she was drowned, even though. So I don't know which way this is going to go. It could be, I just find it unusual, say she did drown, then heck, her friends are saying that they think these older men are involved, and that very well could be the case, there's some older men. But I just feel like when it gets to 11:30, 12:30 time frame, people's stories seem to get a little weird. Like, I don't know. That's when it really, all of a sudden everyone's around her all night long, and then all of a sudden when that time nobody saw, all of a sudden they hurried up, everybody left before she did, and she was going to stay. But then eyewitnesses who were camped just down the road said that everybody left at 12:30. It was a mass exodus, they said. But, I haven't heard any of this come out of anybody's mouth. Again, I'm trying to stick to factual stuff. There are people that are not coming forward. That's another weird one. I just feel like something's weird about this, and I don't understand why they would do this. But then again, there's Skylar Neese. If you ever seen that case, she was another 16-year-old, I believe, who had two friends that were in this relationship. They were in a lesbian relationship, which is nothing wrong with that, but apparently they didn't want anyone to know about it, and she knew about it, and they were supposed to be best friends, the three of them, and they killed her off purely because they didn't want anyone to know what they were doing, and that they just didn't want her around. So, looking at that case, I find that, kind of similar somewhat. So, I don't know. I don't know how long this has been running here. I just wanted to, give my peace of mind and some of the things that I've been reading on. Let me know what you think in the comments. If you agree, don't agree, I love to hear that too. So anything that you guys can think up, and please like, share, subscribe, and all that crap, all that jazz, whatever. I don't know. Really don't know. I'm just so apparently. Then that's another thing I want to bring up too. Why was she wearing a bodysuit when you're going out camping? Like, you had to pull that whole thing down to go pee. You're basically nude just to pop a squat real quick and go to the bathroom. So I find that a little weird. That's not something I would have chose to wear at a party. I'm just saying, especially when you're outside. I mean, people said maybe she was going swimming. I don't know. It's a shame though. I feel for her family. And I don't feel like there's anything weird about her grandparent or her grandfather or her dad. I mean, I see that they acted like any parent would. Her mother seemed to be very upset about her, as any parent would. She has, said some things that people didn't agree with, that she was not happy with them finding her, and maybe it's because they found her dead. Maybe it's because she didn't want that conclusion. Maybe it's because, when somebody dies, you always have anger towards some people, I was going to bring up an example of some of my real life stuff, but I don't want to. So, you know what I mean? I can totally see misguided anger towards people, sure. And I don't think Jagger, her boyfriend, I'm going to say his name, I don't feel like he's had anything to do with it. I feel like he's he's wrote things like, I should have been there to watch your dumb ass. And I feel like that's something I would say about someone I cared and loved. Like, I should have been there. Why wasn't I? Why did this happen? It shouldn't happen to her. Those are things that he's saying that is legit. Like, people would ask themselves. So I don't feel like that's weird. Okay, and then I'm just gonna, and then this guy, everybody's on about this guy. Why is he crying and all this stuff? I mean, maybe it feels different to him because he's there holding the laptop. He found it. He feels like he's invested in it now. I don't know. And there's just like, a lot of things being said. And, let me know what you want to say, what you feel, Thank you for checking it out. And I hope I didn't ramble too much. Thank you. And peace out. Hopefully I do another one of these. Thank you. Bye.